I'm just wondering the beautiful Warner's approach. They say we've got these barn owls that are basically going to be involved in a gladiator type battles with the pure ones, who are these Nazi-esque owls who are led by a Darth Vader-esque Metalbeak. Was there a part of your brain said, what's going on here? Or?
Oh, that's odd to you? I thought that was like that old movie?
I've given up mushrooms, so I just thought these things don't.
Oh, you mean the old talking owl film genre? Come on. No, yeah. No, sure. At the beginning, a talking owl movie, really? Are we going to do this? But, I mean, I feel like, look, this is my, after I read Catherine's books, I'm like, here's the thing that's interesting. Catherine Lasky, who wrote the books, set out to write books of, basically science books about owls. And somewhere along the way, the owls started talking to each other in her mind and ended up going on some sort of Lord of the Ringsian adventure and creating a whole culture of their own. And so I had to respect that leap. And but the books are captivating, and there really is something amazingly rich in this world that she created. And I think that as we explored the world and as we started to design the sort of reality of the world, it just became it's a pretty sophisticated actual society that we've sort of created. So I sort of just fell in love with owls and owl culture, even though it doesn't exist, but owl culture, and Soren, this barn owl, goes on this great adventure.
And based on the first three of Catherine Lasky's series of Ga'Hoole books, and there's certainly, you mentioned Lord of the Rings, and there's other reference points I'm sure people would see. Watership Down a little bit, Avatar, maybe even Triumph of the Will is in there at times. Well, were there certain things that you kind of referred to for your own sort of kind of guidance when you were making
it? I mean, it's sort of a very Joseph Campbellian style story. It's, I was influenced by movies like, Star Wars or Raiders of the Lost Ark. Those kind of, those were the adventure films that I experienced as a child, and that's what I wanted to do in this movie. I wanted to really create an adventure film, not a cartoon, but an adventure that kids could go on, sort of more like Narnia, maybe. That style of, these kind of. This barn owl starts out as a sort of young, naive owl, and then learns the ways of this owl kingdoms, and goes from a squire to a knight, along the way.
And you weren't frightened about putting the violence up there. The feathers certainly fly. I brought my 80-year-old nephew, and he has a stutter now. So just so you know,
I do what I can.
Good man. And you also had the testicles to put in Owl City, the band. That's a slight little joke, I guess. You just felt, I'm going to try and squeeze this in somewhere.
We felt like. They were like so keen, and they sent that song over, and we were like, okay, this is ironic.
I was kind of thinking too with Hollywood of late, that the idea that they've sort of become moon blinked by 3D, or the hope audiences have, and I don't know whether, I mean, you certainly make great use of it here. I don't know how you feel about 3D in general, though, whether it's something you think is a great tool, or whether it's
I will say that this film and my 3D technicians have done an amazing job, on this movie. You sort of understand the why of 3D when you watch the 3D in this. I feel like when you watch the 3D in this movie, it's designed to sort of make a world real. In a lot of ways, the same way Avatar uses 3D to make a world real. I kind of feel like that right now is the most. It's the most interesting use of 3D in a fantasy film, sci-fi fantasy film, where you become immersed in a fantasy world using the 3D to make the world more real,
I think maybe you should have gone with 3D with Sucker Punch too. I'm sure the breasts could really come out towards you and
feel
so much more appreciative. But we should mention, I know my time's tight, we should mention the fact that I know that you've just been announced now as being the man who's going to resurrect Superman, and the fact that this is someone who's been around since June 1938. He's a cultural icon. I know you said to the LA Times that it's super awesome, but I don't know whether you are super petrified as well.
Well, it's daunting. There's no two ways about it. If I wasn't scared of it, I wouldn't. It's like riding on a getting in a rocket and going like, I'm not scared of this. Just put the fuse on it, and we'll see what happens. So yes, but I think it also I have a huge love for the character, and I think that it is gonna be super awesome.
Rock and roll. Nice to talk to you,
Sweet.
sir. Yeah. Cheers, man.